Spill the tea 8 here. Today's topic is WIBTA by not telling a guy I've been dating for a month that I'm having artificial insemination to be a single mother. Prior to lockdown, I decided to be a single mother by choice. The journey to accepting this has taken 2 years and included counseling and a very thorough plan to ensure I could do this alone. I was happy with my decision, and I was at a good place in life where I realized my desire to be a mother was stronger than looking for partner, which may or may not happen, and with my fertility declining, I chose to go down this path as a solo woman. Right before I was due to have artificial insemination with donor sperm, the pandemic hit, and treatments were cancelled. There was no timeline for when things may reopen. For a few days, I was devastated as I was so mentally prepared for this, and then I picked myself up and decided to park my plan. After all, I didn't have a choice. I downloaded a dating app out of curiosity and figured that I could still chat to guys and see what happened, without any expectation really. I've been talking with a guy, let's call him G, and it's only been a month, so very early stage. However, we've met up twice, with a third meeting planned, spoken many times on the phone, and I get a really good feeling from him. For the first time in years, quite frankly, I feel emotionally connected with a man, and it feels completely natural and promising. During this time, my clinic called me to say they have had approval to open, and do I wish to go ahead this month with my treatment. I want to be a mother more than ever, so I said yes, and I'm now on medication with my appointment set for next week. While there's no guarantee I'll get pregnant on the first go, I have a conflict in my mind about informing G of my plan. On the one hand, it's at such an early stage of our romance without yet being anything committed that I feel like I'm bringing something up prematurely. On the other hand, I wonder what may happen as time goes on. Am I just delaying the inevitable? Is it deceptive of me not to inform him of something so fundamental in my life? A friend told me that I'd sabotage a potential relationship with him by telling him of this plan right now, and that a man who is really into me will accept me even if I'm pregnant, and that more time is needed for him to really get to know me. But in my mind, I'm wondering if it will piss him off by suddenly saying, "Hey, I'm pregnant, BTW." We've spoken loosely about wanting kids in the future, so I know he'd like a family, but it was a brief, passing comment. I'm also not willing to wait to get into a long-term relationship, and we are far too early on to be thinking about a family together. Whipped by keeping quiet about the plan for now? Update: a month ago, I was told I WBTA for not telling a date about my plans to be a single mother, so I told him a month ago. I asked if I WBTA for not telling a guy I had only started dating that I had plans to become a single mother. I was scared I'd lose him, but also felt I would be deceiving him by not telling him, thus making the investment in our relationship unfair. The comments were pretty much unanimous in that I'm an asshole, and I needed to tell him, and this validated my decision to go forth and be honest, as nervous as I was. I explained my situation about taking 2 years to come to this decision, how my fertility clinic had shut due to COVID, which was why I had gone back onto dating apps. I explained how my clinic had reopened after meeting him, and how important it was to me to continue in my journey to become a mother. I knew this was baggage he hadn't expected and that there was every chance he would step away from the situation. Well, he didn't. We're now in a committed relationship and he's been supporting me in my journey. I've had 2 unsuccessful artificial inseminations with donor sperm, my original plan, and we've spoken about having a child together. As early on as it may seem, he told me my honesty made him consider his own future and how he really wants a family someday, and how he has admiration for me being honest about my situation and how he wants to help me fulfill my desires to be a mother, whether with him or with donor sperm. Either way, he wants to be a part of my life. I wanted to provide this update as a positive outcome has come out of being labeled an asshole, and it pushed me to do the right thing, which has in turn meant I have the most understanding and accepting BF. Had I kept this info from him, it would have played on my conscience, as well as most likely have caused him to not trust me. So thank you. Edit: gosh, I didn't think this post would blow up in this way. Thanks for the lovely words of support, and also those of you taking the time to provide food for thought of co-parenting and step-parenting. This is new territory for me, and I don't know anyone else in my day-to-day life who has been in this situation, so it's so valuable for me to hear your views and gain new perspectives. Thank you, kind Reddit community. Story 2. New purse check rule absolutely mandatory. Edit: thank you all for the information about bag checks having to be performed before clocking out. I definitely did not know that and will be bringing it up with my coworkers and the manager. I work 3 jobs. The hours and days vary. My full-time job is in an office space on a very fancy modern officer with a great company. They have some great amenities on site too, a full gym, lockers and showers, full cafeteria, etc. My second job is close to full-time, FT depending on other employees' availability, no set schedule, very chaotic and not well ran. It's a boutique just a bus ride from my office, and it's all in a very busy downtown tourist port city by the ocean. The thing is, it's a tourist boutique. It's all city-branded trinkets, shirts, postcards, and gifts. There's really not much any locals would want, unless buying it for out-of-town family. Third job is a fast food place. I'm often between these two jobs and don't have time to run home between. I carry a gym bag with me, with my tiny purse/wallet inside, along with clean business professional clothes, gym clothes, and work uniforms to change in and out of, extra underwear. It's summer and extremely hot, and our buses don't usually ever have AC, so if there's time I'll shower at the office, and I have travel-size shower items. A book for the bus rides. I don't have a car, lunch and snacks, hairbrush. Apparently, the boutique has experienced a lot of loss, something we had previously brought up being an issue because our boss, the owner, will have big tables and buckets of items outside by the sides of the door where we can't monitor them, especially if we're inside with customers. People definitely take advantage, and we've seen a lot of people grab things and just talk off. These aren't the cheaper items in the store either. We've lost an entire display of mid-priced sunglasses, handfuls of bikini separates, and at one point the entire table was emptied in a snatch and run with about 5 younger people. But he thinks it's us stealing things. His wife runs the store, she's always in. She said we have a new mandatory bag check, and every employee in the store is a woman who usually carries a purse or bag. It's not just a quick look through the bag, she wants to remove the items and feel around the sides of the bag and make sure we aren't taking any trinkets and items. I'll be honest, I haven't seen anybody on staff, there's 4 of us, ever steal anything, and I don't even think it's because they're all stand-up employees. I think it's because they don't care to own any of the cheap tacky tourist items. Because my bag is bigger, it's been kind of a nightmare for me. She wants me to take every individual item out of my bag and show there's nothing wrapped up inside of it, lay it out across a table by the register. The first day of this, I was late to work because she wouldn't start checking my bag until I clocked out, and then she took her time with a customer, causing me to be almost a half hour late to my other job. I considered that I could just continue getting lockers at my office, but they're day use only, so depending on my schedule I'd have to make a separate trip to get back to the office before the building closed to remove my items, and it wouldn't be feasible with my other jobs. I'm honestly pretty sure the staff who cleans the lockers at the end of the day probably wouldn't mind and would work something out for me, but I don't feel like I need to go out of my way to keep a steady rotation on a locker. If my boutique manager wants to make things awkward and difficult on me, I'm going to turn around and do it right back to her. She is a very tightly wound conservative lady, so I added a few extra items to my gym bag. I don't get my period, but I picked up a menstrual cup. Period talk makes her absolutely faint. I included some new reading material, old 70s Playboys I keep at the house, for aesthetic purposes, and I just like them. I swapped in some of my sexiest and functionally impossible underwear, but also one of my granniest of panties. I also for no reason at all included condoms, furry handcuffs, a gag gift at my sister's bachelorette party, and I picked up a pamphlet at a nearby community center for their group therapy for bereavement. It went off perfectly at the end of my shift. There were customers in the store, and she made me go through my bag item by item, opening them up and holding it up so she could check to make sure there was nothing hidden. I carefully found out my old magazines to show there was nothing between the pages. I pulled out each set of panties like a creepy fashion show, holding them up to the light so she could see directly through the lace. Every item we pulled out of the gym bag made her more and more flush. She was uncomfortable, she could barely perform the check. She nearly had a panic attack when I pulled out a little sandwich baggie with a menstrual cup in it. I even pulled out the pamphlet and set it aside slowly with intent to seem affected by it, and she looked at me quizzically and kind of confused, asked what's this about, and I said solemnly, oh, I haven't lost anybody, but it's a great place to meet new people. I pulled the condoms out right after saying that. My second back check was definitely faster than the first, and I was finished and out the door in time to catch my bus and arrive to work early actually. Speed running the bag check wasn't my initial plan, but it was definitely an unconsidered plus to the situation. I honestly don't mind doing a back check if they really feel like it's so necessary, but the invasiveness of making every employee pull out inside everything in their bags on a table where every customer in the store has a plain view of everything they have is a little much, and purposely making it take so much time that it's interfering with our other jobs and personal lives is crossing the line. But now I'm kind of excited to see what other items I can include in my gym bag just to keep her on her toes. I don't want it to be too obvious, but just enough to make her consider that a lady's bag is usually private, and appending that for all our customers to see might not be great for business. Now to the top comments. Kawimas. Bag checks should not be done after you clock out. If it is a mandatory requirement, then they must pay you for your time. I would recommend to pack a teddy bear, a whip, and a self-help book on anger management.